If you own a Tesla and if you live in an area that has a winter climate type of area, there are some tips that you want to be aware about. And on top of that, just to set the right expectation with you, your Tesla will lose some range because it won't perform as well in the colder climate. But the one thing is for sure that because of the lower center of gravity of a Tesla vehicle, they do well even if it's a rear-wheel drive or anything like that. Here's a post from Tesla. Traction control on our electric vehicles is much more precise compared to diesel or gas, which brings you superior traction on snow and ice. This is even true for rear-wheel drive vehicles. Make sure you have the appropriate tires for your climate and you're good to go. We've got some photos of a Tesla Model Y, it appears, just covered in ice completely. And look at that, or snow completely, and it got completely pulled out. And that's the one thing. Before we get into some of the recommendations, if you have a Tesla vehicle or any electric vehicle, there are things that you need to be aware about. In super cold climates, in super hot climates, your EVs will lose range. This article says EVs lose 30% of range on average in the winter in ideal or unideal situations. And I think, of course, we're talking temperatures like way below freezing, like maybe even 10 to 30 degrees, and way above 100, I would say, is where you lose some of the efficiency. But the other thing with this is if you have to drive, I would 100% recommend some sort of dedicated snow tire set. I remember before the Tesla days, we would have a 3 Series all-wheel drive, and I really enjoyed having an all-wheel drive vehicle when we had the blizzard on the East Coast. And on top of that, we've had Subaru's STIs as well. And I really found out then that having a dedicated winter tire and a winter rim set was phenomenal, and I was literally unstoppable in those two types of vehicles. And so I would 100% recommend getting a dedicated winter set. Of course, it's going to cost a little bit of money, but if you have to go out in the winter climate and if there's snowing out, then I would say the most safest is having a dedicated set. You could go all-weather tires and things like that, but dedicated is the way to go, especially nowadays when you can get rims pretty relatively cheaply. Like feel like you can get a full set of rims for $500 to $1,000 for some like aftermarket ones, and then another $1,000 for the tires. And you only have to use them, and they'll last you 4 to 5 years as well, as long as you store them properly in your garage or whatever it is. So those are my tips on if you're going to be doing some winter driving and if you live in a certain area where you have to be going out when it actually snows. But